There might be a way to rewatch your favorite TV show as if you were seeing it for the first time. Samsung recently unveiled a marketing campaign called Unspoil Me that bills itself as a hypnosis experience to help users forget their favorite shows. The tool is free to use on Samsung.com for users over the age of 18. Swedish hypnotist Fredrik Presto instructs listeners to think of the show they want to forget as they stare at swirling patterns on their computer screen. The 20-minute program asks listeners to do things like count backward from 300 and jump to a time in their memory before they started watching their favorite show, then jump to the future and imagine they'd never watched it. Afterward, Presto says memories of the show should be fuzzy and the show can be enjoyed again as if it were new. For United News International, I'm Camry Caldwell.
Stanford Scientology and the CIA. This is from a book by Alex Constantine on psychic spying at the Stanford Research Institute, or CIA, mind control. Quote, concrete evidence that electronic mind control was the true object of study at Stanford Research Institute was exposed by the Washington Post in 1977. The Secretary of Navy at the time, Dr. Sam Kozlov, received a routine briefing on various research projects, including SRIs. As the briefer flashed his chart onto the screen and began to speak, Kozlov interrupted, "What the hell is that about?" Among the glowing words on the projected chart, the section described SRI's work was labeled, quote, ELF and mind control. Now let's assume that Dr. Kozlov, the head of the Navy, knew about this program. ELF stands for extremely long frequency electronic magnetic waves from the very slow brain frequencies up to 100 cycles per second. The Navy quietly continued to fork out $100,000 for a 2-year project by bionics specialist. The, quote, remote viewing, end quote, team at SRI was really engaged at projecting words and images directly to the cranium. It was not a humanitarian pastime. The project was military, and test subjects are subjected to a lifetime of EM torture, plied with the same thorough disregard for human rights as the radiation tests conducted at the height of the Cold War. To be sure, the treatment of subjects received at the hands of their own government would be considered atrocities if practiced in wartime. Now, please note they were using this back in 1977. Electronic mind control machines were championed at SRI by Dr. Carl Pribram, Director of Neuropsychology Research Laboratory. I certainly could educate a child by putting an electrode in the lateral hypothalamus and then selecting the situations in which I stimulate it. In this way, I can grossly change his behavior. Psychology Today touted Pribram as, quote, the Magellan of brain science, end quote. He obtained his degrees BS, MD at the University of Chicago. SRI studied how the brain processes and stores sensory imagery. He is credited with discovering that mental imaging bears a close resemblance to the hologram projection, the basis for transmitting images to the brains of test subjects under the misnomer of remote viewing. The SRI-PSI experiments were supervised at Langley, Virginia by John McMahon, second in commander under William Casey, succeeding Bobby Ray Inman. The SAIC director, McMahon, has, according to Philip Agee, the CIA whistleblowing exile, an affinity for, quote, technological exotics for the CIA covert actions. He was recruited from the agency after his graduation from Holy Cross College, a Jesuit school, and he is a former director of the Technical Services Division, Deputy Director for Operations, and in 1982, McMahon was appointed Deputy Director of the CIA. He left the agency 6 years later to take the position of President of Lockheed Missiles and Space Systems Group. In 1994, he moved to the Draper Laboratories. He is the Director of Defense Enterprise Fund and an advisor to the congressional committees. Many of the SRI empaths were mustered from L. Ron Hubbard's Church of Scientology. Harold Putoff, the Institute's senior researcher, is a leading Scientologist. So you get an idea of the characters here we're dealing with, but also how long this mind control hologram has been being implanted into people's brains. To illustrate how easily and simply technology has been able to manipulate the human mind, this is an abstract from a patent that was taken out in the United States back in 2001. Nervous system manipulation by electromagnetic fields from monitors. Psychological effects have been observed in a human subject in response to stimulation of the skin with weak electromagnetic fields that are pulsed with certain frequencies near the 0.5 Hz or 2.4 Hz such as to excite a sensory resonance. Many computer monitors and TV tubes, when displaying pulsed images, emit pulsed electromagnetic fields of sufficient amplitudes to cause such excitation. It is therefore possible to manipulate the nervous system of a subject by pulsing images displayed on a nearby computer or TV set. On the TV, the imaging pulsing may be embedded in the program material, or it may be overlaid by modulating a video stream either as an RF signal or as a video signal. The image displayed on a computer monitor may be pulsed effectively by a simple computer program. For certain monitors, pulsed electromagnetic fields capable of exciting sensory resonances in nearby subjects may be generated even as the displayed images are pulsed with subliminal intensity. So what this means is through our plasma TVs, and this is why when plasma just came out back in 2001, they're able to use the plasma TVs to change and alter the brainwave frequencies of everyone that is watching a TV or holding the TV or computer monitors, such as what you're looking at this on.
All right, my name's Nathan Wrights. I am producer and co-writer of Steinheide the movie. I'm here with Deva, and she's got an interesting story for us, so go ahead and kick it off.
First, we'll start with the photo.
Okay.
This is a picture. This picture accidentally happened because my daughter insisted on this new Facebook photo that I have to have. During the time that this actual photo was taken, the photo that we were going to put on there was not going to be from this phone because I can't send any photos or transfer any of the information, pictures, text message, whatever. I can't send it to anything because I've reduced the service on this phone. So we were going to take it on another camera.
Okay.
We're using this phone so I can look at lighting because she's bad at taking photos.
Okay.
So by accident, I pushed the button on this phone, not even thinking anything about it.
So you're holding the camera?
I'm holding the camera so I can get good lighting.
Okay.
So I can see the light in general for myself, so I can tell her when to take the photo. So I have perfect position, then she's going to take the photo, and by chance I push the button. And of course, I end up getting this photo, which is a picture of the TV at my grandmother's house. Of course, we were watching the news now. The size of her TV is roughly a 60-inch TV,
okay.
So it's huge TV. Okay. But the wording is probably a good portion of the size of my head anyways.
Okay.
And it's written backwards.
And what does it say?
Kill. Now, when I actually seen this photo, it was probably a week after I'd taken the photo. We weren't really expecting to take photos on here, so I didn't think to search through them or even look at it. So I was laying in bed one night thinking, you know, to go through the phone, anything that I don't want on there as far as photos or anything, just to delete it.
Okay.
And that's when I came across this one without realizing that I had taken it, and it was on here. And noticed that I had caught subliminal messaging on the phone.
And how did you feel when you saw that?
I said, this is the crap that my kids and I are watching every day.
Yeah. Were you freaked out? Because like just seeing that picture, I'm very creeped out by it.
Oh yeah, I showed several people who said, yeah, right, how did you do that?
Right.
Yeah. Not like,
so,
did you understand that I got this off of our TV, you know?
Yeah, right.
Just watching the news, you know?
Okay, so let's talk about the possibilities. Just because everybody, you know, people should be, you know, healthy skeptics when it comes to stuff like this. You shouldn't just take any, you know, conspiracy theory and just run with it. Okay, so the possibilities would be the image came off of the phone somehow and was photoshopped. So why can't it?
Because I have my service reduced on this phone, so I can't send any text messages or receive any picture messages at this time. I haven't been able to do that for almost a year.
So there's no way for a photo to go onto or come off of that phone aside from clicking the button?
No, that's why we weren't going to do any of my Facebook photos on here, because I can't put them on anything.
Okay.
On my regular camera, I can. I can just plug it right into my laptop and go from there.
Okay.
This phone, I have no way of transferring.
Can I see this phone?
Yeah, I have
Okay,
no
so
way of transferring any of the information.
This is a Cricket phone, and it just has. This is basics. I mean,
Yeah,
this
that's
is bare minimum.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Nothing.
Do you mind if I take the?
Go ahead.
Okay. And I'm gonna get a picture of this picture. Oops. And yeah, for the audience here. But right now, I'm gonna take the back off of this phone and show. Okay. There is taking the battery out. There is no SIM card. There's nothing. I mean, we got the sticker here. There's no SIM card. Here's a volume button right here, and there's no place for a card or anything like that. It's got an internal memory, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So as far as that goes, this picture had to come from only this phone and no other technology.
Yeah, it's not even on my camera.
So the thing about technology today is that anything is fakeable, almost, you know. Yeah. And it's great that you have such a crappy phone for this, because like this is the only way.
Yeah, it can't be faked.
To show that, I mean, that's amazing. That's.
Yeah, like I said, the chances of it were probably like winning the Mega Million lottery that just happened this past week.
Photo.
Yeah, exactly.
But then just to have, I mean, like, so honestly, so lucky to have it on a device that can't do any of the stuff that most phones can do now. It's fantastic.
Can't do anything.
All right, so what else could it be? I mean, like, we're talking about, like, it can't be a faked photo. So it was on the television. What could that be on the television aside from subliminal messages?
A movie advertisement, commercial, maybe one of those exercise video commercial, you know.
Okay. I think the question that everybody's going to be asking themselves is, why would it say kill? You know, that's something I could only see from a movie advertisement. However,
yes, it's written backwards.
Yeah.
It's written backwards.
Exactly.
It's 100% subliminal messaging. It was a flash from one sequence of the screen to something else, because the chances of that being on there and me catching that photo and having there be nothing actually on the TV at the time, and just by chance catching that.
See, the thing is, there's something that a lot of people don't know about the way that the human eye works and the way that televisions work. So basically, the human eye can see, it's debatable, but it can see between 28 and they say about 35 frames per second is what we can perceive. That's on a conscious level. Anything that's faster than that, anything flickering faster than that, our subconscious would pick up, but our conscious mind wouldn't even catch it.
Yes.
Televisions, like the networks, used to transmit everything at 24 frames per second. Then they jumped up to 30 frames per second. Now they're transmitting stuff at 60 frames per second and 120 frames per second. You get those TVs now. When you look at the bottom of a TV and it says 120 hertz HZ, that means that it is flashing 120 pictures per second. Now, when the human eye only sees 28 to 35 frames per second,
yes.
Why do we need technology that's transmitting 60 and 120 frames per second?
Obviously, they don't want you to see everything you're actually watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like taking this photo.
Yeah.
There's no way I could have actually watched for this photo. And if you look, my back is actually to the TV.
Yeah, that's...
My back is actually to the TV,
it is a
and I have... Yeah,
shot.
it's a 1 in a yeah.
It's probably a 1 in 10 million.
This magic happens. This force comes into being. This electricity. And what is it? What is electricity? What is this stuff we are creating? And they say these sigils, they will summon Lucifer. And they use scrying mirrors, these black mirrors, which they would look into, which would show them the future and the past. And here we are with our iPads, tablets and computers with these black screens showing us the future and the past. So what is this beast system? We are all like neural nodes in this system, and it's mapping the entire human terrain, and underneath it is this emergent intelligence of the internet itself, which is growing.
the light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness?
There is a revolution coming.
Excuse me? What do you mean?
The future is staring back at us like a perfect picture on glass. And this future, it must be protected.
What's it got to do with me?
Look,
What is it?
it will change everything. That's why they want to stop it. They will come after you without cease. Because the future belongs to us. LG OLED, a perfect picture on glass.
Who are you?
Oh, come now. I've already told you. The future is staring back at you. LG OLED TV.
For if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass. For he beholdeth himself and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was. For if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass. For he beholdeth himself and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was.
What's it got to do with me?
Look,
What is it?
it will change everything.